Hi, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. This morning, I have with me Alex Perkins, who is a creative wholesaler who I found through Pace's Facebook group and Instagram. And I have been following all of his videos. Really interesting stuff. So, welcome, Alex. Tell us a little about yourself and your background.
Yes. So, like you mentioned, do some wholesaling. I also do some buy and hold. I basically got started in 2019, I believe it was. Bought my first property then. At that time, I had literally no idea anything about wholesale, so it was all buy and hold for me, and wanting to basically create that financial freedom. That was really my goal. So, picked up a couple properties like that. Two of them actually just with the regular like owner occupied, 3% down, fix them up, make them into rentals. And then I was just kind of curious at how I could accelerate that path, right? So I ended up joining Sub Two. I ended up just pulling a list of vacant properties, cold calling myself. I got a couple of deals like that. I kept all those as well. And then actually recently I had joined Alejandro Alvarez's acquisition team. So I'm a closer on his acquisition team, and we're basically just closing deals and trying to make some money and help some people. So that's where I'm at right now.
Great, great stuff. So, where are you based?
Right now, I actually just moved probably 4 or 5 months ago to Southwest Florida, Punta Gorda actually, but I came from Dubuque, Iowa. That's where I was living.
So, are your buy and holds in Iowa?
Yep, yep. Most of them are in Iowa. One's in Georgia. I used to live there. But yeah, it's Georgia, Iowa, and then I'll probably start buying here in Southwest Florida as well.
Oh, wow. So, how many properties do you have now?
I think I'm at 11 units, which is a mixture of single family and duplexes.
Oh, wow. So do you have property managers managing all that?
In Georgia, I do. That was my first one.
Yeah.
That was 2019. I basically fixed it up myself, and then hired a property manager, and then moved. But the ones in Iowa, I lived there a couple years, so I was kind of building up my contacts and my my handyman, my realtors, and anyone who can really help me run this thing. So I'm actually self managing all the ones in Iowa right now.
Oh, wow. Wow. So will you start buying hold in Florida as well now?
Yep, yeah, I believe so. So it's just a little different market, right? Obviously,
Mm.
Iowa's gonna cash flow a little bit better, so I'm just kind of not like really heavily looking for a deal just yet in Florida, but I think in the next couple months I definitely am gonna be just in looking at different strategies that I can make it cash flow like a property in Dubuque, where whether that's pad split or sober living or short term rental or something along those lines is a
Right,
lot of stuff I'm looking at right now.
right. So do you like being part of a team? Were you part of a team in Iowa as well?
So the team I'm on actually, they are I want to say nationwide. Yeah, that's probably the best way to say it. So
Yeah.
we actually market pretty much nationwide. So but they're based out of Dallas, but we pretty much all work remotely. We're all over the place.
So when you're doing that, how do you account for, like the economy, the ARV would be different, for example, in Iowa versus Florida, right? Like there must be a different formula that you apply when you're,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So essentially, we're getting leads in from everywhere. We call, we talk to these people, we figure out what it takes for them to be a deal, try to get a price, right, and then we
Mm,
just have to take that information and then underwrite that deal based on that specific market, right?
right,
So we
right,
have um, a guy on our team that basically does all the underwriting, and he's awesome. But yeah, essentially, he's looking at what else is sold in that specific market, what other buyers are buying for in that specific market. So it's going to be very
right.
specific to the neighborhood, the property size, that sort of thing. So
So I've been looking at this a lot now because people have different strategies when they're calling. So when you call someone within your group, are you guys doing like a two-step call where you find out that there's an opportunity there and then you take the time to go back and underwrite it and see what your maximum allowable offer could be?
I'd normally go with the strategy of just take it as far as I can on every
Yeah.
single call. Like sometimes it kind of depends on the situation, right? Like
Mhm.
I can basically look at Zillow, and if Zillow says 300,000 and this person tells me 150 on the phone, like I'm probably just gonna try to take it to the finish line there and just lock it up. But yeah, you're right. Most of the time, honestly, you can't do that. You need a little bit more information. So you have to basically build that relationship, try to solve their problem, figure out what it would take for them, get their price, and then
Mm.
you have to underwrite it, and then you have to come back on and try to close them.
Right. So in your group, do you make the second call as well? You're doing the follow-up and you're basically taking them to close?
Yeah, so how we have it set up is a we have like our lead generation, which is cold calling and cold texting. So we have some VAs that do that, and then they will generate new leads for us that come into the database, and then it's myself and another closer on the team. Normally, we will call the new leads, so we'll just hit the new leads. That's where a lot of the fresh opportunities are, so we'll hit
Right.
those. But all like the follow ups and that sort of stuff, we have lead managers that are actually also virtual, based out of the Philippines, and they're basically calling all the other data in the database and saying,
Mhm.
"Hey, are you guys still looking to sell? Like, what's preventing you from selling?" Like, nurturing those stuff, and then when they're ready to basically make a decision, then they get passed on to myself or the other closer, Joe, on the
Right.
team. So that's basically how that works.
How did you acquire your buy and holds? Was it through were you on a team? You weren't on a team then, so you were individually calling on your own?
Yep, yep. That was just
Oh,
totally
wow.
myself. Just went and basically I got a list from the city of vacant
Mm.
properties. They had a list. You have to have like a permit in that city for whatever reason to have a vacant property. So they had all that recorded. I got that list. I skip traced it off
Oh,
truepeoplesearch.com,
wow.
and I just grinded it out with my own cell phone. Just going super slow, which is terrible, and I would not recommend. But that is how I did like my first three deals, honestly. So
Wow.
you definitely could do it. If I were to do it again, I would definitely speed it up. You could use like a dialer
Mm.
um, to basically talk to way more people way quicker. I would also probably not use True People Search. You can use a skip tracing service. You'll get more accurate numbers, and it'll be much faster.
Right.
That sort of thing. If I could do it all over again, I'd save myself a little time.
Yeah, yeah. So, I saw that are you doing direct to agent as well, or are you just doing direct to seller? Because I saw some of your videos and some were different strategies.
Yes. Yep. So the way we operate is kind of unique, actually. So we have different database partners, and the different database partners, some of them market direct to agent, so we're closing with agents, and some of them market direct to seller, so we're closing with sellers. So we do both, actually.
So, which do you prefer?
That is a good question.
Well,
I
our direct to seller is more profitable, bigger margins.
I would say so. Yeah, yeah. You can probably get a bigger deal going direct to seller. I think would be true. And I also like talking to sellers more than I like talking to agents. But there's also the big positive when you're talking to an agent and you build a really good relationship with an agent,
Mm,
they're going to bring you deals in the future. So it's like
right,
it's not only just this deal you're looking at, it's the four or five other deals they bring you over the lifetime of your
right.
relationship. So that's super super powerful, but if I just had to say which one I like more, I'm going direct to seller.
Oh, really? Okay. But don't you feel like, well, there's less conflict sometimes. You don't. You're not getting the hang-ups and the other things from agents, right?
I actually probably get more of that from agents, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
Yep, just based on a lot of the stuff that we are marketing to for on market
yeah,
is it's going to be creative, mostly creative finance. So
yeah.
these are people who are in very low equity positions, and the agents that I'm calling have probably already gotten 200 other phone calls from investors like me that want to do the same thing. So that's a big challenge, and they're upset and they're frustrated, and I have to
Yeah,
try to my best to separate myself from every other
right.
knucklehead that's calling them. And but it's hard, and the agents are probably, I'd say, more aggressive on average than the sellers I talk to.
Oh, wow. Do you find that agents are knowledgeable about creative, or are they just like,
No, they have no clue.
Yeah,
That's not true for every agent.
yeah,
Obviously, there are agents that know it, that have done it before, that understand it, but uh, those are unicorns. Those do not. They're not very common. It's like 2% of agents I talk to probably know and understand this process.
so a lot of them are just like, "I don't wanna talk about it."
Yeah, a lot of them, like, it's human nature too, like, the things you don't understand, you want to avoid.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's a lot of that. It's also like, "I've been doing this for 20 years and I've
yeah,
never heard of this, so it's clearly illegal or
yeah,
clearly not true, or you're a scam," something like that,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is really unfortunate that people, like, think that they know everything because they've been doing it for 20 years and they've done one transaction a year, so they've done 20 transactions. Like it's not that you haven't done that much, you're not that experienced. So, but trying to
Mm.
put that in their head nicely in a way
Right.
that we maintain this relationship. That's difficult. But that is what I get a lot of is I've been doing this for 5 years and I've never heard of that, so it's clearly illegal or something. That's a lot of the objections I'm overcoming.
Yeah. They're not even presenting that to their client at that point, right? I mean, isn't that their job?
Yeah, so that's unfortunate. You will get a lot of agents that will straight up block it and never even
Yeah.
present it to their client, which is unfortunate because they're a fiduciary and it's
Yeah.
their job to basically understand all the offers coming in and present their seller with that. And they, in a lot of situations, and again, not all agents. There are plenty of agents out there that are
Right.
awesome, but unfortunately, you will run into agents if you're doing this that are going to block you, and since they don't understand your offer, they're not
Mm.
even gonna present it to the client, which is a terrible disservice to the client, obviously, because
Yeah.
just their own ego is getting in the way, not wanting to understand it, and then they don't give this option to the seller. And for a lot of sellers, it's the best option for them because they're gonna
Right.
be able to basically walk away with the most amount of cash. Then it's gonna help fix their credit. It's gonna get them out of a bad situation.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the videos that I just saw you did was on REI Reply. Is that what you guys are using in your business, or is that your personal thing?
Yep. So my personal marketing, I use REI Reply. I think they use Launch Control for the texting,
Okay.
for my the team I'm on. But yeah, I personally use REI Reply for text
Okay.
message marketing.
And that's texting and CRM?
Yep, it's a CRM. It's
Yeah.
texting. I think they actually also have a power dialer in there. I've not used that. I don't have any experience with that, but I know it
Yeah.
is there.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're using a dial. You use a dialer when you call.
So I'm not. So the cold callers are they use a dialer and they
Okay.
they burn through a whole bunch of data, right? So the normal process I would say is it goes to a cold caller, they're on a dialer, and then it gets filtered again through a lead manager. So
Mm,
they talk to this person, make sure they're ready to make a decision, and then it comes to me. So I'm not using a dialer, so I can just basically use a regular phone.
okay. All right. Well, I love your videos. I've been watching them and I'm like, oh, this is really, I mean, good stuff because they're really short. So they're not like, droning on and on, which is really nice. It's just like this little snippet. I love them. So I think you're reaching a lot of people that way too.
Well, I'm
So
glad to hear that.
yeah, yeah. So thank you for that content. And I'm going to be watching for more. So I need all this, I need all this information. Thank you. So I really appreciate your time today. And how can people get in touch with you? How how can they learn what you're doing and what's the way to
Yeah.
reach
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if you'll have show notes or whatever, but I can send you the links to my social media. I believe it's just at Alex Perkins REI on YouTube,
you? Okay.
and similar Facebook, Instagram, that sort of thing. I'll have the links for those. But yeah, that's essentially where you can reach out to me, check out the content I'm doing, and then yeah, I guess let's connect. What I'm looking for, always looking for deals, always
Yeah.
looking for private money. And then if also, if someone needed help closing their leads or something like that, maybe we could work together. So definitely reach out.
Oh, cool. Okay. And when you're looking for deals in the Florida area or everywhere?
Yep, primarily Southwest Florida.
Okay.
If anyone comes across a deal in Dubuque, Iowa, I'm your buyer. But I recognize not a lot of people are marketing there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Your family's still in Dubuque?
yeah, actually,
Yeah.
probably like an hour and a half outside of Dubuque. So
Okay.
I actually started in Wisconsin, then I was in Georgia, and then Iowa, and now Florida. So, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're actually in Wisconsin.
Okay. Well, it's getting cold up here in the Northeast, so you're in a good place down there.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Alex. What I'm going to look for is a little thumbnail that I'll post on our so everyone can get in touch with you and see your YouTube information.
Awesome. That's perfect.
All right. Great talking with you today. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.